ideas and the pursuit of them, it's kind of like some funny shit that we talk about. It used to be that we would attain information, through sources of academic sources. There would have to be some kind of degrees, some kind of PhDs behind behind the people we would listen to. And I think it's kind of commensurate of another conversation of that what the hell went wrong, because when we were young, you didn't just bag a Lisa Bonet and he was just some thug. He was just some thug nigga from the wrong side of the tracks, and all of a sudden, you've baby mama like some Spelman chick. Like, that didn't used to happen. I think the way in the society that I feel like the scrutiny has changed, and I think these kids are developing magical thinking. I'd love to hear what you think about that. Am I not giving them enough credit for how they're coming to?
So again, like, I think you and I are products of the 70s. We are the hope of the civil rights era.
Right.
And I think what came out of that was we also were the last intellectual generation, and I'll stand on that square because to make a pop culture reference, for as much as NWA hit, we also had Public Enemy and Rakim, and we had things that everything wasn't surface level understanding, which a lot of these kids get fed today because they think pop culture is the way of their lives, and they think because it looks like me and it sounds like me, it is me, when it's not you. It's something's concocted in the lab for you to consume. Right. So, with all that said, I remember doing the knowledge of our era. Like, and I remember, whether you were going to Fulton Street or 125th or, up on Fordham Road in the Bronx, or you would find brothers who sold incense, oils, and knowledge.
And
feel
books.
Me?
Hells yeah.
And books. Right.
And it was common. It was common for our generation to have read the autobiography of Malcolm X. It was common for someone to have read Elijah Muhammad's message to the black man. Like, even no matter what you believed in, it was just par for the course to read that.
Right. And we read that. You also read other sides of the struggle, like Soledad Brother, and you read France Fanon, you know what I'm saying? And we did the knowledge, you know what I'm saying? Even though our young minds probably couldn't grasp the global level that some of these brothers are speaking on, we did the knowledge. But we also had, Shahrazad Ali. We had Shaka Musa Barashango. You know what I'm saying? We had a lot of cats that gave us, we had Dr. York.
I was just about to give him. But you want to know what? Dr. York is a double-edged sword. Now, is he a cultist? Is he a pedophile? Yes, all of those things are true.
And all my point is saying is that, we had this information, and we were thirsty to achieve it and understand it and absorb it. Now, it just takes time and worldly experience to understand that, some of this was right and righteous, some of this was right and exact, and some of it was just pure foolery that sounded like a good rap track of the intelligentsia of the times. You know what I'm saying? So I look at somebody like young Kyrie, who is the guy that, in a world of Carhartts and 40 Belows, is wearing plaid pants and Doc Martens, to use a 1990 reference point. You know what I'm saying? He's got a little
yin yang medallion on, like it's
and there's a room for my De La alongside my EPMD to keep it long out. You know what I'm saying?
True.
And I think that, where it comes off, for the lack of a better term, misguided, it's only because of the size of the audience he's reaching that he has the sway of. And I think the tough thing for some of these young brothers out here is that they're learning in very public spaces. And it's easy for people to graft onto their young, fertile minds and try to shape that. You know what I'm saying? Like, for all the crap that Kyrie Irving gets, I have to say, and run with it all you want, I admire his quote unquote wackiness more than I respect Colin Kaepernick's silence. For somebody who was dressed up as this generation's Ali, I have yet to hear Colin Kaepernick phrase 3 sentences together about what he feels and how he feels about it. So I will respect the fact that I can look at a young Kyrie Irving, who I found out is 28. You know what I'm saying? I'm 2 decades ahead of the young man almost. That I'd rather him stumble and learn. You know what I'm saying? And be open to feel that and speak his truth, because I have watched, said former quarterback be put on this pedestal as this icon, but when Ali took the slings and arrows of the American media, there wasn't a talk show he didn't like that he couldn't speak his piece on, whether he was defending the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, whether he was going against the Vietnam War, whether he was defending himself as a black man in America. I will give Kyrie Irving the benefit of the doubt, whether misguided or not, that he's open to publicly express how he feels. And I just hope that with that openness, he's receptive to further dialogue to add on so he can build on his cipher. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? I like 2 things that you said, but of course I'm gonna take issue with the Kaepernick thing, and let me get there by addressing the 2 things and kind of pulling out the 2 things that I really like that you said. One, because of what we do in our lives, like we were just college students. We didn't live like, we weren't international superstars like Kyrie Irving was, but Kyrie probably would have hung out with our crew. And he probably would have been one of those dudes that was mining for information, and a lot of his college life really was lived out in the NBA amongst a bunch of non-intellectuals, non-academics, to be the truth. And he probably wanted to go out there and search, for knowledge and information, just because, like all young black men in America, we feel uncomfortable with the education that we're given. So I think that's a very astute look at it. But the challenge that I have for it, and here's where I would take it to task, is like, we live in dangerous times with information, and his platform is ridiculous. The people who love Kyrie are loyal to Kyrie in a way that is dangerous, and I think it's dangerous for Kyrie, but it's also dangerous for people. Like, there is a large segment of this country, almost 30%, that believe in QAnon, Drew, and it's because we've surrendered, information to, like, I'm not the biggest fan of the Tariq Nasheeds or the Dr. Umars. You can just look at their product and look at them as people and understand that they're grifters. Like, they're here, they're hustlers, they're getting money.
Yeah.
And the more critical their situation, like Dr. Umar was was live streaming from a park. I think he was living in his car, and people sent him money. That's how poor the quality of information that people are getting from the internet.
But you know what though? But part of itself, God, it's like I
Okay.
look at it that it's like, again, it's American anti-intellectualism, and the idea that you do a non-cerebral thing well somehow gives you the ability to talk cerebrally to other people, and that's just the stupidity of Americans. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I want to talk about one of Kyrie's former teammates for a hot second. Like, for all of what LeBron did, there was kind of a side eye that the struggle was never bigger than the James name on the back of his jersey as he won a title. You know what I'm saying? Like, that the struggle was never more than you holding Malcolm X's autobiography upside down with this "I'll get to it" moment. Like, don't make knowledge a photo opportunity. Let me tell you, like, when I was in college playing football, and every training camp, and in fact, every time that I am facing adversity, I pull out the copy of the autobiography of Malcolm X that my sister bought me 25 years ago at least. You know what I'm saying? And
more.
and it's what's wild. And there's an inscription on it. In fact, I got to pull it out. I got to see that date that she put on it. But let me warp your thinking for a little bit. Like, I played for the first black head coach in Division I football. You know what I'm saying? And he looked at me as a problem because I wasn't buying into being a good docile Negro. You know what I'm saying? Like, somehow I would walk around with my playbook and my copy of the autobiography of Malcolm X through training camp. And he thought I was just trying to be extra. Like, what is considered being woke now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that was problematic. This is a black man leading young black men that believed in him, that never had a black man like them in their lives. I had my father. I didn't need him, but that's a whole other story.
That doesn't fit in run through a wall culture.
Right. So, and then finally he sends one of his young black coaches to pull me aside, and he goes, what's with the Malcolm X book? And I was just like, I don't understand your question. And he's like, it seems a little revolutionary. And I was just like, what? He's like, it looks like you're discontent around here and it's a little troubling. I was like, troubling for who? And he's like, well, it seems like a little much. Now, this is 1993, 94, 95, 96. Right. You know what I'm saying? And, I found it interesting that here is a black man having a problem that a young black academic who was also an athlete, taking issue reading with this, which is now an American classic. Chelsea Handler is out there posting Farrakhan clips now. You know what I'm saying? So it shows how wild the world is. But
at 50 Cent.
But let me not lose my thought because I got early onset CTE, so I got to keep my thoughts right. But
dropping bombs, but go ahead.
I looked at it that and finally I said to the young coach that said to me about it, and I said to him, I was like, this is a story of American adversity. I said, every day I go into training camp, this is my chance that I got to show and prove to myself and to y'all. And if I don't win the battle with y'all, I have to at least win the battle with myself. And reading this story every year reminds me of how you can go from something to nothing, and what your previous situation was does not define your future.
Right.
The man looked at me in my face and walked away with me, ran that up the pipe, and I was still branded as malcontent. You know what I'm saying? For reading a book that is now universally renowned as a great piece of American literature. So I say that to say that I'm here to let the young brother breathe. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think in a world where, you have this commodification